What's to do, guys? How's Marcus Rashford on his move to Barcelona? That was on the lips of every pundit in Britain, in the UK, in the Premier League, Top Sport, Sky Sport, you name it. United Stand. Everyone was calling him out, telling him he don't deserve to go to Barcelona. Um, Even though they don't know him like that, even though apparently nobody cares about what he does. Um, all they care about is what he wears, what he spends his money, the chains, the watches, the gold, the diamonds. That's all they cared about. Well, take you back to this.
Has this man earned his move to Barcelona?
Rashford is suddenly...
Yeah, Marcus Rashford landed in Barcelona on Sunday ahead of completing a season-long loan move from Manchester United. He'll take a salary cut, be paid around £10 million gross, including bonuses, which works out a little under 170 grand a week. He was on 300 grand a week at United. Dino,
So that was the question on everyone's lips. Has this man earned his move to Barcelona? Does he deserve the life he's living in Barcelona? Does he even deserve to leave Manchester or within sure where he was born, born and raised? Why is it, why is it so impossible for people like Marcus Rashford to make it out and become successful where they come from? And people will look at them differently to the way other people look at them. But anyway, he sat down today, spoke with not today. The VT came out today this morning at 10 o'clock. So I watched it all with Gary and Big Meeks. Shout out to Big Meeks. Shout out to Gary. Gary Lineker. No, not Gary Neville, by the way. But yeah, it was interesting to, just listen to what he had to say. And I'll tell you what, if he actually listened to what he had to say, he didn't say a bad word. He didn't say a single bad word about United. They don't, I mean, not that the interview was about United. I think they just wanted to get him settled down and, show another side to him a little bit. But he said nothing new really to what we already knew, some of us, that actually follow what, without emotions, or I think in a way some people don't think really. And when you listen to this interview from Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders, you can tell these people don't think. They just do it for the clicks, they do it for whatever suits them. And that's where we are. So before I play the Gary Lineker and Big Mix and ex-Rashford interview, let's listen to the initial malarkey what they got up to before he signed for Barca.
it's a big move for him. How's he pulled this one off?
Well, I think a lot of people are baffled. And most people are, sort of confused. How come Man United get rid of him and make him train on his own, and then he goes to Aston Villa and they don't want him, and he goes to Barcelona?
Yeah.
So is it Hansi Flick, the manager?
Hansi Flick, yeah.
So you're thinking, and Deco, who's his director of football, I think, I don't know what's going through their heads. What have they been watching that we haven't?
Well, I think they see the talent in him, though. You see the fact that he can produce on the big stage. He can produce in big moments. He's done it in Champions League football before, hasn't he? He's scored big goals. He has got a huge amount of talent. They probably look at it and go, is he going to start for us? Probably not. We've got Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. But we've got a lot of games to play. We need a decent winger, backup. See it as an option,
Yeah, well,
don't you think
good luck to him, and I hope he turns it round because
he doesn't deserve the move.
No.
He doesn't deserve to go and play for Barcelona for what his performances he's put in at Manchester United have been pretty shambolic, right? He went to Aston Villa and done all right, and he showed glimpses of what he was about. He got injured. But come Barcelona?
I thought he was nearer to going down the road of Dele Alli than he was of going to Barcelona. I thought he's nearer that road.
Yeah.
And
how would you deal with him? Because
Yeah. So here from somebody like this on the said about Jamie Ora. Jamie knew exactly what he was doing. Feels like he set Dean up for this. But Dean is so experienced that you can't get caught up with this kind of bullshit. You know, you're old enough, you're older than Jamie. How do you not see what Jamie O'Hara was doing when he asked those questions? How do you not notice what he was doing? The guy was baiting you and baiting you, and he got you to say exactly what we got the fans talking. And to me, it just shows that whether what's the motive behind it, he don't deserve to go there because he had an average season at Villa. Well, every player in the Premier League probably had an average season, including Manchester City players, the big boys. But Marcus is the only one they all target. So if you skip back to the next one, he said he was looking at him in a way that he was getting closer to Dele Alli, which again is the thing. They look at certain players, they just want them to fail. They expect them to fail because of who they are, the background where they come from. Whereas, I'll tell you what, the other guy that signed for Everton yesterday, nobody looks at him that way. Trust me. So, got a little one here came to see me. But anyway, let's look at it. Let's listen to the rest of it. Dele Alli, we don't know what happened to him, and he's voiced his own whatever happened to him as a child, and we sympathize with him. And this is the Dele Alli, the Saunders claimed that Marcus Rashford was looking to turn out to be, or he wished Marcus Rashford turned out to be like Dele Alli. It doesn't add up, does it? But anyway, if I fast forward this quickly to the next bit here, let's see what Dean said again.
3 up there. Stop them coming out with the ball.
Do you think Marcus Rashford can do that?
Well, it's whether he can do it every week. Or distractions. I mean, I'd say to him as well, look, bin the Rolls Royce because fans can't pay, some of the fans watching you can't pay the electric bill.
Yeah.
So
We need to get rid of the rolls.
read the room, right?
We
read
wanted
the
to
room.
drive around in a Mini Cooper.
What other idiot would drive round in a Rolls Royce or a Bentley like that? A white one. You.
Hey, don't knock the Bentley.
Right. Bin the Rolls Royce. Fans expect you to have a nice car. They expect you to have a Range Rover, an S-Class Mercedes. But Elton John and Elvis drive around in 700 grand Rolls Royces. Don't they?
Yeah.
So,
But they are the modern day rock stars.
well, yeah, don't be a rock star. Be like Scotty Scheffler. Yeah. He's the opposite, isn't he? He just gets on with the job. And now you're calling him boring this morning.
Yeah.
But go down that road.
He's got gold. You know he's got a gold Rolls Royce. Scott
Who?
Chevrolet.
No, he hasn't.
He has.
He
Yeah.
hasn't.
It's got diamonds on it and everything.
No, I'd say to him, like, just work, just come into training every day, give it your best, score goals, make goals. I'll try and put you right if you're not scoring. I'll try and help you
Yeah.
with your positional play. I'll people get the ball to you in the way you want it, but you've got to do it yourself. It's got to be inside your.
See, this is where the problem is. So bashed him, he's telling him what to do with this money, how to spend this money, and what you think he should have become. He should have become like Dele Alli. You know, he saw him going on the route of Dele Alli more than Marcus Rashford being successful or whatever. Ended up in Barcelona. He shouldn't be going to Barcelona at all because you know he lives like a rock star. You know, he should ditch his Rolls Royce, he should ditch his everything else and just drive a Range Rover or S Class. And then he tried to twist it as if he's trying to help him. Well, I'll say to him, well, I'll help you, score some more goals, do this, blah, blah, blah. Boom. These people chat so much shit. I've seen these people in real life, right? They don't want you around when you're successful. They don't want you around. They don't. They'll do whatever they can to try and demean the work you've done or your talent or your experience or the job you do. I know people like this in real life, trust me. But then, for once, then you got people like Hall, came on for the Saunders and he tried to address this case here. Listen to the other one.
Has this man earned his move to Barcelona?
Rashford is suddenly through on goal, and he's beaten the goalkeeper and has scored his first Premier League goal for Aston Villa.
He has a chance. This is at the elite level. This is the last chance saloon.
I do think if it comes off, this is a clean slate for him and a possibility for him to sort of start rebuilding his career a little bit.
What's he showing us fans, even the younger fans? If you misbehave, you still get rewarded.
Rashford! And they found a way again! Marcus Rashford drills it into the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford has reportedly completed his Barcelona medical today ahead of a move from Manchester United. He will join on a season-long loan with an option to buy him next summer. He, of course, spent the second half of last season at your club, Gabby, Aston Villa, who decided not to exercise the option to make it permanent, which does surprise me. Former Villa and Welsh striker Dean Saunders was alongside Jeremy O'Hara on the Breakfast Show this morning, and he was baffled by the move.
How come Man United get rid of him and make him train on his own, and then he goes to Aston Villa and they don't want him, and he goes to Barcelona?
Yeah.
So is it Hansi Flick, the manager?
Hansi Flick, yeah.
So you're thinking, and Deco, who's his director of football, I think, I don't know what's going through their heads. What have they been watching that we haven't? Been the Rolls Royce. Fans expect you to have a nice car. They expect you to have a Range Rover, an S-Class Mercedes. But Elton John and Elvis drive around in 700 grand Rolls Royces. Don't they?
Yeah.
So,
But they are the modern day rock stars.
well, yeah, don't be a rock star. Be like Scotty Scheffler. Yeah. He's the opposite, isn't he? He just gets on with the job.
What a load of nonsense Dino's talking. What car does Scotty Scheffler drive, by the way? Can someone find out what car he drives? What's his car? See, this is a whole different conversation now.
Yes.
Because I was actually just wanting to talk football.
Exactly.
And I'll get to that point in a minute. What does Marcus Rashford's car have to do with Marcus Rashford on the football field?
That was a painful. That was like.
Be
Maybe
like
that-
Scotty Scheffler.
That was like maybe some lads in the pub having a pub chat. That was like, for one, Marcus Rashford has played 426 games for Manchester United.
Yeah.
He hasn't just come out of the academy and had 5 Premier League games. If he wants to have a Rolls Royce, that's up to him. If he wants to have a Bugatti for £1 million, that's his right to do that.
Yeah.
He's worked hard to become a footballer. All the hard work as a young lad to get into that Manchester United first team, to go and play 426 games. Oh, but he should drive a Range Rover.
Yeah,
I do love Dino. Dino's a
or
good
an
lad.
S-Class. No, he is, but he's got to make sense of it. We know he's nice. Like, I speak to Dino quite a lot, but we've got to make sense of it.
It's
I'd rather Dino focus on, for Aston Villa, he played 17 games and scored 4 goals.
Exactly.
Not good enough to get the move. I don't understand the rest of it.
But what I don't get is, he should drive a Range Rover or an S-Class Mercedes. So you're telling someone how to spend their money. Some players now, I'll tell you that for sure, majority of the players now in the Premier League, they'll be on the private jets in the summer.
Yeah.
They're not on the Jet 2
And by the way,
EasyJet.
these are players that have only done it for a season.
Exactly.
I know certain players. I don't want to name names, but I know certain
They're
players that
straight
are
on the private jets. Exactly.
And by the way, who have Rolls Royces.
Exactly.
And they've been playing Premier League football for 1 season. Marcus Rashford's been doing it for 10.
Yes. Where's the same energy when John Stones has had a Rolls Royce?
Absolutely.
What car's Foden driving? Kirkers had a Rolls Royce Cullinan a year ago when he was at Bournemouth. So forget about what Marcus Rashford's driving. Forget about what he does with his money. Let's talk about what he's doing on the pitch.
Yeah.
What is his performances like? If Dino's questioning the move for this performance, that performance, no problem. But let's not tell players what to do with their money.
And not only that, but you try and pipe up a bit like, the fans are going to be disappointed because he's driving a Rolls Royce. No.
It's like Conor Ben went and bought a Rolls Royce after beating Eubank.
Didn't beat Eubank, lost to Eubank.
Sorry, lost to Eubank, sorry. After Eubank had to pay, how much did he? Was it half a million?
Yeah.
He had to pay, so he used that, he says, for a Rolls Royce. There's no energy on Conor Ben there. I feel like in this country, we like to put footballers down. Me, when I played,
What car do you have?
I had the Aston Martin DBS, the Bentley Continental GTS, the Lamborghini Aventador. I had them all. No one could tell me nothing. Paul Lambert come to Aston Villa, looked at it, he was like, "You're not going to say anything, Paul." No, you're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I earn my money, I spend on whatever I like. Marcus Rashford should. Any footballer should. Anyone in any line of work should be able to spend what they earn on what they want.
Yeah.
Judge Marcus Rashford on what he's done on the football pitch.
All right,
Simple.
let's do that now then. Hey.
Exactly. So the lads, Jenny defended Rashford there, and other footballers probably could be potentially victims of these trolls by, I call them trolls. They think just because they play football, they play the sport, they can be trolls. People like the Saunders, Junior, they weren't successful as footballers. Let's be honest. They weren't successful as footballers. They played the Premier League, if that's what we class as success. But if you look at Marcus Rashford, he's more successful than these people. So they've just been fortunate to be managed to be given an opportunity to sit there and talk about other players, slander them, or be jealous about what they drive, what they eat, what clothes they wear, and that then translates to other people. Yeah, she's coming. Just give me a minute. Jeez, I've got kids. Why didn't I start the stream before they go to bed? I should have gone to bed first before. By the way, Jimmy Carragher said, "This is Rashford's last chance." There we go.
News bringing you a first look at the sports stories in the morning's newspapers. Joining us are the Mirror Sports News title.
Marcus Rashford in his England squad. He's already picked him once.
Rashford for Barcelona or for Manchester United?
You know what? This is one of those strange situations where this is a move that actually suits absolutely everybody involved in it. It obviously suits Marcus Rashford because he's moved from one gigantic football club to another. It suits Barcelona if he plays well. It will suit Barcelona. It suits Manchester United because Barcelona covering all the wages. He's out of the dressing room where he'd become, in the eyes of Ruben Amorim, a bit of a problem. And he's not moved to another English club where he could potentially embarrass them by playing well. And it's also, let's not forget, possibly a very good move for Thomas Tuchel, the England manager, who's desperate to have Marcus Rashford in his England squad. He's already picked him once, couldn't pick him last time because he was injured, but will definitely pick him, I would imagine, in March if he's fit and playing well for Barcelona. So as we sit here today, it ticks all of those boxes. All that Marcus Rashford has to do now is go and play well. And that's something that he hasn't done consistently for a very, very long time. So that's the challenge right now.
Given that he was frozen out at Manchester United, John, he was decent in his loan spell at Aston Villa. But has he done well to get a move to the Spanish champions?
I think he's done remarkably well. And I do admire him so much because it feels to me that he really set his heart on a move to Barcelona. It was almost like the boyhood dream that has come true within the last, say, 6 months or so. And certain circumstances have worked out. Would Barcelona have been able to do that had they signed Nico Williams? Yeah, arguably not. And particularly, they always seem to be under financial pressure. So he's worked his way, you would argue, in certain ways. But I really, really admire his determination, the way that I think he spoke and spoke sort of kind of with an authority. He speaks so well generally. He's a 27-year-old lad, and basically I just feel it took some courage, I think, to leave his boyhood club, his boyhood heroes, Manchester United. I do think he had 6 good months at Aston Villa. Obviously ended in some frustration because of injury. But I really admire his spirit and his determination to drive this move. Am I surprised that a club of the stature and size and glory, if you like, of Barcelona have gone for a player who's, frankly, ostracised at Man United, hasn't gone well for him in the last couple of years? I am, but I just feel that Rashford has got a burning desire there and so much ability and potential to prove a few people wrong. And I think that has to be top of his agenda there. And if that drives him on to be a success in Barcelona, while wearing, by the way, an iconic 14 shirt synonymous with Johan Cruyff, and basically I just think, wow, what a
statement of intent from Marcus Rashford and his career. And, I really, really hope it goes well for him, because this is the guy that we all took to our hearts a few years back for being a national treasure in lockdown. And I just really hope it goes well for him. He's had major, major setbacks, some of his own making, it has to be said, many times of his own making. But it feels like a fresh start at 27, going to Barcelona, playing at the Nou Camp. Oh, what an opportunity. Wow.
He must, John, have had pretty strong reassurances that registering him will not be a problem, because we've seen in recent seasons that Barca have had to pretty much flog the family silver, hospitality rights, all sorts of different things to try and keep registering players, because...
Oh, anyway, that's again another damning report there. People that look at football logically, people that look at individuals and just judge them based off of their football, right? They think the way certain people think. But people that just think emotions, don't think emotional to even be football fans. They can't see it. They will never see it. They will never see this decision he made to join Barcelona, the way he spoke up before he joined Barcelona, the way he predicted it, the way he called it, the way he wanted to go to Barca. And he's right. He did it to prove a point, and he will prove a lot of people wrong by going, he continued to play the way I've seen him play over the preseason. He's had a relatively very good preseason, better than our United players, some of them that are the ones we've signed. And the way he spoke today, I'll get to that clip shortly.
As was touched on, they're right up against it financially.
Oh, massively. I mean, we're talking about overtake all of his wages. Really like Rashford as a player and as
profile players. United have had to take some pretty embarrassing cuts on those that they've lost huge amounts of money on certain players.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I didn't think this was a deal that United would pull off in terms of the way it's structured. I didn't think they'd find anybody who would pay all of Marcus's wages. I was talking to someone relatively close to Marcus a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't think that would happen either. They thought that wherever he went, there'd have to be a split with United funding part of the deal. So I think United have managed to work this one pretty well. I thought it would probably go down to the wire the last week of the window before. Let's put it this way, probably.
That this was a guy completely frozen out of the picture, told he's not in the manager's plans. Yes, I do totally understand. I do appreciate that he's obviously clearly fallen out with the last two managers and basically been shown the door. So probably lucky, I'd agree with, rather than courage. But I do also think within that period of time, he reminded us what he's about, which is basically incredible pace, a fantastic sort of ability to run at players, cut in, particularly I have visions of him sort of kind of absolutely racing down the left-hand side, cutting into the right, and basically really be a devastating player. And let's not forget that it's not too long ago that we were sort of kind of lauding him as one of the best players of his type and ability and speed and pace and attributes in Europe. And if he can get back there, then I do feel as if, Barcelona would feel a good fit for him. He's got to talk it up. And I do think he talked it up quite nicely today. Basically sort of kind of feeling at home, sort of making those noises. The phone box stunt, was quite good. There was a question, wasn't there? Can you be the most successful Brit in Barcelona ever, sort of thing, really? I mean, they were making comparisons in the press conference about Lineker, weren't they, basically? And, listen, he's got some serious competition to live up to. He's also kind of got some fantastic sort of kind of players to wade through in terms of competition. Has he seen the two wingers that he might be up against? I mean, the obvious question there has to be, is he going to play? Where's he going to play? And when's he going to play? So look, there's lots of battles ahead, not denying that. But I do admire that basically, he's put himself out there. Yes, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it's an opportunity he's clearly been chasing. I think that's the point. And then to actually be able to nail it, well, fair play to the people that have nailed it, because it does seem, if you'd said about 6 weeks ago, Marcus Rashford's going to sign for Barcelona, come on. We'd have gone, really? Not quite believed it. So fair play to those that have actually made it happen. And as I say, it's partly down to circumstance, But what an opportunity for Rashford! He has to seize it. This is this is the tipping point of his career. This is make or break in his career. It's sink or swim, and basically this will either make his reputation, or people will say, well, he never quite fulfilled that potential and promise. And that's the challenge facing him, and he's got to grasp it.
So Barcelona have added a forward, Ian, so too have Liverpool.
Yes, absolutely, I do agree with that. I always know that from day one when I started supporting Manchester United, or the people I've supported throughout, we used to love looking after our own stuff like that. But the way the rest of these people turn against this guy, including the press, just because, as you can see that picture up there with the suit, for the job he did during lockdown, and everything he did, then it became an issue. Like, if you got foot wrong, they question it. Like, he wanted an AI Marcus Rashford, which was AI, who's a bot, but the guy's a human being. Got him some slack, you know. But yeah, here we are again. I'm gonna move on to the interview with Lineker and Big Meeks. Shout out to them, those two. Big Meeks even tried to get some free ticket for the Barcelona game. And Lineker sent some interesting stuff that if you listen, just listen to what they say, man. Don't get emotional. Start bashing and start banging. Or I didn't even reply to trolls when they came on that 10 a.m. in the morning, started getting angry at an interview. People just get angry because somebody's getting interviewed by Gary Lineker and Big Mix. They just get angry for no reason. What's your life like? Who are you? What do you do? Right? If Marcus choose to interview by Gary Lineker and Big Mix, that's his, that's his right. He can do it. He can, anyone can interview him. He can agree to anyone. But anyway, here we are. Let's move on to that interview, and then I've got another one from another journalist from that I actually saw him at Old Trafford on on Saturday, and he was with his son as well. His son is a massive United fan. I'm not gonna name names, but I'm just gonna play it anyway. And they were both disappointed at what we watched, what we saw at Old Trafford against Fiorentina. Unless we got a midfielder like Believer, whatever you want to call him, then we're in big trouble this season. The Amorim 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it, 3-5-3. Anyway, move on to the interview with Big Meeks and Gary Lineker, ex Marcus Rashford.
Manchester United. Marcus, lovely to see you here in Barcelona. Now, I don't know whether you can remember, and I've got a little bit of film. We filmed together about, I don't know, almost 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. And you took me around the training ground at Manchester United. And we talked, if you have a little listen here, I'll try and play it. When I went to Barcelona, right, Barcelona. The great training ground in those days. It's like this now, obviously. See the line of that red bit there? Yeah. And to here, that was it. On the side of the stadium, that was it.
Like a patch?
Like a patch, and it was that's trained on every day, right by the side of the stadium. It's like...
It's crazy, isn't it?
I won't bore you with all of it. But now you're here. Yeah. Now you're here. Who would have thought it? We were talking about Barcelona's training ground. Now you're on the training ground. Yes. Not the one I was, which was right by the stadium. And it was a patch, a field. How was it? You settled in?
Yeah. It's obviously a new experience for me, but just enjoying it all. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
He's looking lean, isn't he? He's looking good. I'm looking at the guns here. I'm a little bit jealous, guys. I'm not going to lie.
You're going to compete? You're going to get...
No, I'm not going to compete.
Talking when you just came through the door about how training's changed, because you were talking about how slim you are and all that, and saying that it's slightly different here than...
Yeah, it's very intense, but it's intense in a different way to English football. It's hard to explain because like pre-season, it's been tough. It's been draining. Like after training, I'm tired and stuff. Obviously, the weather plays a part as well. But it's not tough in the aspect where in England you'd be doing like loads of hard running. It's more like mini games and possession blocks. It's less rest between each exercises.
More on the ball?
Yeah, more on the ball, and it's more like constant training. So in that way, it's more difficult in terms of intensity, but it's easier because you're in rhythm more. It's definitely different, but you know, I'm just looking forward to the season starting really, because you know that's where I'll learn the most, playing against new teams on a more consistent.
Have you got any lingo?
Early days.
No, I'm trying. I've had a couple of lessons.
Big Meeks.
El español
¿Qué hay en Barcelona? ¿Tú no conoces Barcelona? ¿Un plano?
3 times a week for 2 years.
It's better to do it that way though, isn't it?
It's the only way. You ain't going to learn it just picking it up.
No, if you do it once a week.
Yeah. Mark Hughes wasn't really having it.
He's got no concentration.
He did 2 lessons and then gave up.
To be fair, I'm going to get more consistent lessons and just try it that way, because I tried a little bit on like Duolingo and stuff, but it didn't really help.
It's tough, isn't it?
It didn't really help me. Like, I done loads of lessons on there, but then when I started my first like proper lesson, it was different.
Having had the experience myself of being here, and it was, I have to say also, it was much easier when I was here, in the sense that practically nobody spoke English, so you kind of had to make do back then. Whereas now, even when I come back now, and I speak Spanish pretty well. If I speak to people, they reply to me in English, which is bloody annoying, because you just want the chance to practice. But I think it's appreciated by the fans if you can say a little bit. And it's definitely appreciated perhaps in the dressing room as well. They go, oh, he's you know.
But for me as well, it's just part of like the experience of being here. Yeah. So like, even if I didn't have to, I'd still want to.
By the way, this interview dropped 9 hours ago, right? It's probably been one of the biggest, it's almost had one of the biggest views for the rest is football. It's almost on 400k views 9 hours ago. Whilst you've got the most recent one 7 days ago, that's for 92k views. Marcus Rashford's interview today that dropped this morning at 10 a.m. was almost 400k. That's mad. You know, the motion, he's got motion, bro. The guy is a star. He's a superstar. He's not a world-class player. Know the difference, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. Know the difference. I'm not saying it's a world-class player. He's got the potential, but he's a superstar in his own right. He's got the biggest numbers. He pulls the biggest numbers everywhere he's been. Anyway, let's continue.
Try and learn at least the basics anyway.
I tried Italian. Terrible. Honestly,
I thought you sounded fluent when I was.
No. My Italian is terrible.
How long did you play there?
I was there for just 1 year, and I had lessons and everything. But like, the teacher was laughing at me. So when the teacher's, what are you supposed to do when the teacher's laughing at me? I'm trying my hardest. And after like 2-3 weeks, I thought, no, this is not for me.
The problem was she was laughing at you while you were playing.
Yeah, true. But it was just amazing to like have a different experience, you know, like going into a new dressing room. Obviously for you being at Man United for so long, then just going in and you just trying to find your way. It's like a new kid at school.
Do you know what? Honestly, I thought it'd be a bit more like daunting, but like it's pretty much seamless. I think when you go over something in your head and you visualize like being somewhere, like you just take everything as it goes really. So, and it was similar to like when I first went to Villa as well. Like you don't really know what to expect, but because it's something that you're looking forward to, it's not like a worry. It's more just like an excitement. So,
can I ask you, was you nervous though? Because when I went to Fiorentina, I was really nervous. I was pretending like I was fine.
I was nervous as well.
You know what? You mentioned Aston Villa there. I've got so much respect for Aston Villa, for the fans at Aston Villa. These people showed Marcus what it means to be looked after by your own Aston Villa fans, whatever you call them, whatever name you want to call them. But they showed. Right? They saved him. They rescued him from Manchester United. They show what it should be like. It should have been like a Manchester United for the guy. We'll probably never know what he was going through at Manchester United unless he wants to talk about it, because this interview even just feels like just you and your boys just sitting there chatting about stuff. It's nothing new. He's not said anything new that we don't know about. You mentioned Aston Villa, the way he felt going to Aston Villa, the way you guys looked after him. I've got mad respect for Villa fans, man. It's actually quite embarrassing when you think about how United fans treated him, actually, currently treating other players. It's mad. So shout out to Aston Villa fans and the club.
Way back. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like nerves or if it's just like excitement. Like when I think of even stuff that I'm going to find difficult, it's more of a challenge and like exciting than it is scary. So I wouldn't say it's like nerve-wracking, but yeah, there is like a part of you that's like, you know, like butterflies in the stomach and stuff like that. But like I said, it's for me, that's like positive stuff. All the positive things that have happened in my career, I have that feeling anyways. It's almost like when you don't have it, you're a bit comfortable.
Do you think the little spell at Villa helped you to bridge the gap to make a bigger step coming here?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Because you've been in Manchester.
Yeah, for so long. Yeah, and it's like no matter where you go from being in a certain place for so long, it's a change. But I feel like the timing of me going to Villa was like now looking back, it was the exact time for me to do something like that. So I feel like the response and the reaction I got from, you know, the people at the club and like the fans, it was probably what I needed on a personal level.
You mentioned the fans again. You mentioned the fans, Aston Villa fans. You guys are proper human beings, man. You're proper humans, right? Unlike the cretins at Old Trafford.
Like in that moment, but it's crazy because like 6 months on, like I feel like everything's completely different. But without having that right period in the middle, maybe I won't be feeling how I'm feeling now. So yeah, I feel like just everything that happened at Villa, bar the injury at the end, was exactly how it was supposed to be.
It's a good club, Villa, isn't it?
No, 100%. And I was speaking to my brothers about it, and like I remember Villa got relegated from the Prem, and since then,
I think he was playing. He was playing for them.
That was all mine doing. That was.
Marcus, you just knock him across the 6-yard box and I'll keep popping them in.
No, yeah, so since then the club's been on the up. So when I first went there, the atmosphere at the club's like all positive, and it was just exactly what I needed in that period.
What's the language of the dressing room out here in Barcelona? I just wondered whether because it used to be Spanish, because people used to say, do you speak Catalan or Spanish?
No, it's still Spanish. Obviously, a lot of the young lads speak Catalan. But the easy thing for me is a lot of the lads understand English. So like on the pitch, it's just about me picking up on the basics, which I've done quite quickly, to be fair. So
a lot of them would speak English as well.
Yeah. And then there's good like people that are like a bridge. So like Frankie speaks really good English. Jules speaks really good English, and these guys have been here for a few years now, so they speak good Spanish. So on the pitch, it's honestly like easier than what I thought it'd be. But also like football itself is just a language. I know a lot of people say it, but
Big Meeks. I think Big Meeks was at Villa when they got relegated, and so he walked into that one full on head first. Got a little could do it to take the piece out of him. Well done, guys.
Like if you understand each other on the pitch, it's easy to communicate. You get like the general vibe on the pitch. So I've not really had any problems in that way.
I think it's normal when you go to a club, and particularly in the early days when we've moved around, and you normally you find a friend.
Yeah.
Who's your friend? Yeah.
To be fair, all of the lads are like maybe it's because they're all very young, but like.
Do you feel like the old man here? Well,
yeah,
apart from Lewandowski.
No, but you do though.
Oh, imagine at 27 you feel like the old man at a football club. That's crazy, isn't it? Barca, that's the talent of Barcelona.
Because like you have to think like 27, 28, there's more players under 20, under 21 than there is past, 28. So it's like in your whole career you're probably in like directly in the middle, but in this team you're one of the experienced lads.
What they like these young, they're so good.
Honestly, it's so like refreshing to be playing with them. But yeah, it's just every day they're full of energy, and it keeps you having energy as well. So no, it's good. Like they're all really talented, but the thing that surprised me the most is like how mature they all are. Like on the pitch, they play the game at like their own tempo. So
what's like better decision making?
It's just the way that they're developed. It's different. Like in England, you're developed to always show your skill set. Whereas sometimes in football, as you know, as you get older, it's not. There's a time and a place to show, you know, your skill set. So, for example, if your skill set's dribbling, there's a time and a place to be dribbling on the pitch. Whereas in England and in the academies, like if you're good at dribbling, they just tell you to dribble. Yeah, so that's one of the first things.
Just listening to that, you know, that makes so much sense. No wonder in the Premier League, all we ever shout at Rashford, run, just dribble, man. He's lost his space. He's finally found a place where he can actually show his talent. And somebody has told him you can only use it when you really need to. You don't have to use it all the time. That is mad. That is mental.
Things that I've realised, and it's like you look at someone like Pedri, I think he's 22 or 23, and it's like he's actually really, really young, but he's just got that much experience already playing at the, you know, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and, you know, playing in some of the biggest games.
Where have you been playing in the pre-season games? So we're doing this just before the start of the season. It's coming up the weekend.
No, just a bit of everywhere, really. But I've always enjoyed doing that, especially when you play with so many passes in the team. It's like playing on the right wing when you've got so many passes in the midfield and in the back line. It's different because playing on the right wing is probably my more difficult position out of the three. But once you can just assess spaces, and that's kind of the main thing that I'm trying to adapt to now, because I think the way people defend here is obviously different to in England. So you see spaces
in what way is it
England,
different?
because in England you have to find the spaces so quickly because of the tempo and the rhythm of the game. And I can imagine it's similar here, but if you do find the spaces quickly, you can really hurt teams, and you see that when you play against teams in Europe. But like anywhere, when you play against teams consistently in a league format, it's going to be different. So it's just adjusting to that as quickly as possible. But it's going to be exciting. You know, I'm looking forward to, you know, this new sort of atmosphere and new genre of football. So it'll be good.
Okay, trust.
Really interesting the stuff he's saying here. Really, really interesting. If you just listen and pay attention to what he's saying. Wow. Pure ball knowledge. You got to use his talent when he needs it, not just run around because people shout run. That's how Barca adapts. No wonder they keep the ball more than anybody else. They'd rather keep the ball than chase you up for it. They'll take it away from you, they keep it.
Ahora, para!
Since a kid, it's been hard for me to.
He was happy playing up front, and then but you like left.
It also just depends who you're playing with, how consistently other people play in the positions that you receive the ball from as well. So it's difficult to like pin down one position. But honestly, I've been like this since a kid. It's been hard for me to like. It's because I'll say it. I used to love the right wing when I was younger, but then. Learned as I got like maybe to 13, 14, drifting inside, because I'm always controlling the ball on my left. When I'm coming in off the right hand side and now you're controlling off your right, it's more different when I'm trying to accelerate. So it's more natural for me to control on my left and accelerate with my right foot. I can do it more swiftly in one movement. So then I moved over to the left, and then I love playing on the left, but then you miss scoring goals. And then when you are in the middle, you miss touching the ball. So it's just like, you need that. Like for me, when I'm at my best, I'm having that freedom to exploit the back line. For me, from the left is the easiest position for me to do the rotation, because on the left I find it more natural to play off the centre half shoulders and the full back shoulders than I do on the right. But it's all just, it depends game to game.
Well, football's never.
It's never the same. But then some games I'll be on the left, and even if I have a good game, I'll be seeing what's happening on the right, and I'll be like, oh, I wish I was on the right today. So it's one of them. But as long as I'm, you know, helping the team and, you know, trying to find ways to have an influence on the game, then, you know, I'll be happy. And
you'll certainly be playing attacking football, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Anti-Flick's way of playing. I mean, it's a massive high line, and you'll be playing in the oppositions.
Yeah, but it's perfect for the skill sets of the team. You know, there's too much ability to be spending too much of the game in your own half. So, you know, to play the high line, which honestly in the first couple of weeks that I've been at, how good they are at the high line is like everyone looks like they're only just offside, but they're so confident in the system, and for them to only be doing it for 1 year and be that good already is really positive. So it's good, but honestly, I'm still learning it, which I probably will be for a while. But it's attacking football, and that's what I want to be playing.
You seem like you're really, happy with life and the way. No, 100%. It must be really exciting. Looking forward to the start of the season.
Honestly, it's just like refreshing. We see how good they were last year, but like the motivation and the determination to just improve, and we know it's going to be tough to have a year like they did last year, winning that many trophies, but that's the aim and that's the objective. So that was one of the first things I noticed my first couple of days there. Like everyone's pretty much forgotten about last year, and it's about what we can do this year now. So it's the perfect environment to go and be successful.
Scored after 2 minutes, Marcus. Then I'll take the pressure off. Right place. We're just talking about.
I'll leave you two strikers to it. What are your aims this season?
It's just to win. I want to have obviously a good individual season, but like anyone will tell you, if you have to choose between that and winning, you'd pick winning. So so if I aim to win, the chances are I'm going to have a good individual season as well.
It's going to be tough getting into this team, isn't it?
No, for sure. But this is part of the challenge, and if I wasn't confident that I could do it, then I wouldn't have wanted to come here. So I think just settling in and giving 100% and keep the mindset of learning, because I think like when you come to like a new country, a new brand of football, it's easy to think like whatever we was doing in England's the right way to play football, but things are different here. So I'm enjoying like learning this, and the players are helping me learn the new brand of football.
One criticism from me in your game is I feel like you can be more selfish.
Yeah.
Because you get into great areas, then you always want to pass. I'm like, all the other players in top of world football are shooting.
No, for sure. But it's just, that's how I enjoy football. I've been like this since a kid. Like, don't get me wrong, I love scoring goals and stuff, but so like, this is why I probably can't consistently be a number 9, because like, it's not natural for me to do that. So if I am doing that, I feel like I'm forcing it, and I know that I'm missing other pictures of the game, that if I was just playing freely, I'd be seeing these pictures. So there's a lot of times where like I don't shoot because I feel like the chance of it being blocked and missing a chance for the team rather than just for me is pretty high. But then also the striker of him is like, if I can get it through his legs here, if I can get my shot off through his legs, there's a high chance of it going in. Yeah, so it's like finding the balance. But in this generation to consistently play number 9, you have to be selfish, because you're required now to score 40 goals a season. So you need to be shooting more frequently. It's like I don't put too much pressure on the goal scoring side, because I just know like I'm confident that if I'm doing the right things, I'll create chances for others, and I'll be in the position to have shots and score goals.
Yeah, I just to elaborate on that though, because I think we're now in a era where everyone talks about goals and assists. So when you was at Aston Villa, I was raving about you, and we did a FA Cup game, didn't we? And I was saying it's the best I've probably seen him playing for Villa. But at the end of it, then people say, well, he only scored that amount of goals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they're not looking. I look at the full game.
Yeah.
People now.
It's because you've played though.
Of course, yes.
So like, I'm a winner at the end of the day, and I want to win. So if the team's won, I can analyse the game, and whatever I need to change and adjust to score more goals, I can do that in more of like a seamless way. And that's the way I've always, it's not just in sports, that's the way I learn. Like if I put too much pressure on myself to like, oh, you need to score goals, you need to shoot, I'm not gonna play well.
Yeah. Have you always been like, I mean, I'll take you back perhaps now to your childhood and where this talent came from. And
yeah, so I was a goalkeeper at first, actually.
Was you?
No way.
Yeah, but
He was a goalie?
I got bored in that.
We must be talking what?
At Fletcher Moss.
Fletcher Moss. Yeah.
So my first year was in that, but then I think I remember like my brother was telling me I was moaning like everyone's always having fun, like scoring goals and stuff. So I wanted to go outfield. I'm always going to be a player that enjoys the intricate things that people might not speak about all the time in football, but like creating space. And people always say like, oh, just running behind. But sometimes running behind, it's like the run's not on. Mm-hmm. So like forwards know it. No, we know it, but like sometimes midfielders, they don't know it. They just say running behind. Sometimes the timing and the space, it doesn't connect. So there's no point running behind because it doesn't affect the back line. That's what I want to do from a run. If your timing's off and if there's no eye contact between the person on the ball and me, the centre halves can see all that. This is why striker's the most difficult position on the pitch because your back's...
Hold on.
It is though, because your back's to goal and the defenders can see everything you're looking at, but we can't see everything the defenders are looking at.
Hold on.
This is why
you could have a rubbish game. And he was a master of that rubbish game. And then gets a tap in.
Hang on.
And then he's a hero.
How many of my games have you watched? How do you know a rubbish game?
No, I understand that aspect, but when I go back into midfield, the game's easier because you can see everything. Everything's there forward. So for someone like me, like I don't like to pass backwards. So like when you want to go forward as often as possible, you need to be on the half turn all the time, but sometimes you can't. You don't have the time to be on the half turn. So now you need to, know your surroundings.
We wasted this guy's time at United, man. Remember when we were playing that back side to side backward passing at United? This is mad. And now he's saying that he never likes passing ball backwards. They made these players play so badly. The coaches we've had playing backward football. You guys have seen the game. The game is gone, bro. We ruined these players. The managers, the coaches, they've ruined these players. There was time when they were just playing backward passes. The coaches are not doing anything about it. And now he's saying that he hates passing backwards. And you can see it. Every time he passes the ball forward, it's a positive pass. It makes a difference. He's taking corner kicks. He's taking free kicks at Barcelona, at Aston Villa. And he hates passing backwards. But the managers, the coaches make you do these things. But we always blame the players. I'm sure he's probably voiced this to all those managers as well. I don't like passing backwards, but nobody ever listens to him.
Scanning all the time. Know when to bounce, know when you can turn, and ultimately you need to be in the right areas to score and assist goals.
You might have to stay for the Classico hat-tricks. 120,000 people back then.
120?
120,000, yeah. All home fans. Two goals in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was buzzing. That'll do. Hat-trick. I'm going there. But so I'd like you to experience.
Gary is doing all this to motivate Rashford, man. You can do it, Rashford. You can score hat-trick in your first game. This is what I think Gary Lineker is better than Gary Neville. He's better than Roy Keane. He's better than all of them. Jamie Carragher. He's better than a lot of them. That sits in front of our tellies telling us that these players are rubbish. Lineker is just doing everything purely on football basis. Not what he's wearing, not clothes, if he's wearing Gucci or Louis Vuitton, it doesn't matter. It's showing him football videos where he think, looking at this is probably going to motivate him to make sure he gets to that point.
That is quite a tasty thing.
Yeah, I hope so.
Stuff. Does criticism from numpties like this... because I used to get the same sort of stuff. Because there's a certain understanding that you need to have to play in forward positions, whether it's wide or, as you said, in the 9 position. But you're clearly a very thoughtful guy. We all know that. Many things that you've done, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. Have you always been deeply thoughtful about not just the game, but life itself?
Yeah, it's just attention to detail. So it doesn't even matter what I'm doing. It's if I'm invested in it, I need to try and do it to what I see as like the best way for me to do it. I think I've just been like that since a kid, since before I can remember, and it's just like, you know, my family always say like, oh, if they call me like a perfectionist, because like if someone challenges me to do something, I don't just want to do it in a way that everyone deems as like, oh, he's won and that's a good way to do it. Like if it's not right in the way that I've like planned it or thought about it, it's like I'll keep redoing stuff.
Do you know how good you are though?
I was going to ask that question.
Honestly, in terms of off the field, forget off the field for a moment. On the field, you don't understand. I don't think you understand how good you are.
I just think it's like, and I always have something to prove to myself. So it's
you hard on yourself.
Yeah, more like I'm more hard on myself than anyone can be harsh on me. So it's like, this is when you touched on like criticism before. I ignore a lot of people, but it's not like a defense mechanism. It's just like I have my own version or my own image of what I deem to be good. So like
when things are not going really well for you, and you've had a career that's kind of everybody's career with ups and downs. I played stride, a tough season here, my last season here at Barcelona. Do you get down a bit? Is it,
I
you
think
find it difficult?
It's not necessarily like being upset. It's frustrating, but the be all and end all is if it leads to trophies, everything gets put aside. So like your individual career is nothing without this team version, and that's also a part of football that I love.
Do you think sometimes you get unfairly criticised because of who you are and what you've done, not necessarily on the pitch? But I always thought, because it was, you know, I'm a massive supporter of what you did. I mean, I think pretty much everyone is. It was incredible what you did. You shifted government policy and all that sort of stuff. It was remarkable. And always my fear was that the minute he has a bad spell, they'll blame that. Obviously, I'm saying this is because I feel it a little bit. But I think some of the times the criticism for you might go on a night out. You might go out in an outfit, a certain outfit, and that will be criticised. I don't think that would be criticised if that was a white player.
Like, I honestly...
Boom. Boom. Gary said it. He said it. He went there. And this is the point I've always made. And even the people that you know personally in real life, they will talk in a way that make you feel, you start questioning who they are. Like, you start questioning what other man is wearing. You think the man thinks he's a rapper, is whatever you want to call him, man. They've called him so many names. But you won't do the same thing for other footballers that don't look like Marcus. And that's where I think people that don't know it, either subconsciously, they don't know it, that check yourself, mate. You need to check yourself, because his clothes and the women and the cars and the food is in, none of that matter when he's on the pitch, right? But then he can't criticize his football without attacking or without starting from his lifestyle. That you need to check yourself. But you won't do the same thing for other players that don't look like Marcus. And this is coming from even, people that look like Marcus, because these people, they've been brainwashed by certain people in the industry. Like, it is madness. And you know people like this in real life personally. You know them. You've been, you sat around them. You've probably share food with them and everything. And as soon as they start questioning what Marcus Rashford is wearing, thinking he thinks he's a rapper, he thinks he's that. But these people do listen to rap music, by the way. They go to rap concerts. They go to, whatever you want to call it, festivals. But because Marcus apparently to them thinks he's a rapper, now it's a bad thing? Or is that just your racism that's showing? Subconsciously, you don't know that. But check yourself. You need to check yourself, man. We're not repeating ourselves again moving forward. We're just going to tell you, call it what it is, man. But here we go. Let's finish this quickly. It's almost there.
think it's not because people don't want to highlight it. I just think people don't care anymore.
I just don't think you can change those people's opinions anyway. It's more about going forward and sort of changing the opinions of the youth, you know?
Yeah.
I've suffered it when I was coming through, but nothing changes. People always say what they want to say.
Yeah.
You'll notice it's different here.
Yeah, 100%. And I spoke to some of the...
You will, and that's what I've said. In terms of the football, they'll be incredibly critical if you're not performing on the pitch. They won't bother about your life off the pitch. You know, they won't. They'll respect your life off the pitch.
Yeah.
Even when you walk around, people will be respectful. And you get that in England as well, mostly. But I'm talking particularly in terms of the media. They will be very focused. In this city alone, in Barcelona, you've got 2 daily newspapers that only cover Barcelona Football Club, pretty much. El Mundo Deportivo and El Sport. Esport, they say. And they do everything. I remember when Terry Venables, he wasn't very well one day, and the front page headline, because I had to fill the newspaper every day, was Venables has diarrhea. But we used to go out. And they won't, as long as you're performing on the pitch, and even then they won't blame it on something else, like that we perhaps do in our country a little bit too much. The media do. I don't think the general public. I think most general public have a massive amount of respect for footballers, but I think you really enjoy that.
You know, the couple of times I've been for like meals and stuff, it's been nice. It's been refreshing.
That's mad. It's actually been out in Spain for 4 meals, and we've not seen it anywhere, even on X. Like we live in, we spend a lot of time on X, on Twitter, and Facebook, and Instagram. It's been out a few times. If he tries that in Manchester, he park his car somewhere else, people find him, his car, they'll post it. Oh, look at the car he's driving today. Or look at the restaurant's been. Oh, look, he's got 2 blonde girls following him. Or he's got this, blah, 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 all that. That's what you will find in the papers. Or he's gone to a boxing fight, he's gone to a concert, he's gone to this, he's gone to that. That's all they do in this country, man. And it's been out in Spain, and we've not seen pictures. How crazy is that? No wonder the Bellinghams left the UK, man. And you don't see pictures of Jude Bellingham either. That's actually true, You don't see them roaming around. Oh my days. Check yourself, man. Check your racism menu.
Enamorado de ti, ¿eh? Marcos, ¿cómo te digo? En español, ¿cómo no puedo decir? Marcos, con cariño tu nombre, a ver dónde.
People of Barcelona, if they come up to you, they're very polite and ask you nicely for your autograph. Don't like to disturb you too much.
They might move from club to club in England. They know about the players and it's moving from one place to the other and it's just a little bit different, but not a lot. You've got an whole environmental change, living in a hotel, moving house, not sure what's going to happen, and then the difficulty of the language.
And this is where they put us. It's not like this place you're in. The hotel.
Hello? That's the room.
20 minutos.
Ridiculous.
Fluent.
That's a good line.
That was the first week. What about England? There's obviously a World Cup coming up next summer.
Yeah.
You're at Barcelona, one of the biggest clubs in the world, in one of the best teams at present in the world. You want to get back in the...
Yeah, 100%. This current group of English players is extremely talented, and it's going to be disappointing if we don't manage to do something really special, because I think we've come on a lot, and for the last few years it's been just the next step is for us to go and win.
England have been very, very close. They're knocking on the door.
Yeah, we're right there, but you can see with a lot of the teams that are winning stuff currently, they've also had this period, but no matter how many times people say, oh, we were this close, that close, the important thing is getting over the line. It's definitely an exciting period. Obviously, there's a new coach there in Thomas.
How do you get on with him?
Yeah, he's a top coach, good guy. I think being an international coach is, quite difficult, especially from someone who's used to, spending lots of time with players. People don't understand how short of a time you have to prepare for these major competitions. It's only, 5 camps in the year, 10 days apiece. So, 40 odd days together to try and win a World Cup's not a lot. but he's a coach that pays huge attention to detail, and you can see that. I've seen that straight away from the first couple of training sessions with him. So I'm looking forward to what he'll bring to the team.
And being here, I suppose, if you perform well at Barcelona, it puts you in a really good space.
Yeah, for sure. Like honestly, I try not to put too much pressure on like the England setup. It's clearly something that I want to do, but you don't get that without putting in the hard work, just day in day out, and showing that hard work on the pitch. So that's a knock-on effect to the stuff that I'll be doing day in day out.
I think what's clouded a few people's visions is because you don't speak that much.
I'm honestly fine with people having their opinion on me regardless. I'm doing the thing that I love to do every day. I don't want anything else. I think it was Usage that said something actually. Like, your discipline's more important than your motivation, because sometimes you wake up and you're not motivated. It's the discipline that keeps you in check to get yourself out of bed, go to training on time, and work when you don't necessarily want to work. Study the game, study your opponents when you might be tired, or you might have a headache, or you might be ill. But these are the things that people don't really, pick up on. So it's it's
hard for them, for the general public, to understand what goes into making a top class professional.
I don't expect the general public to understand that. Like, some of my friends that are in other sports, like, I'm a huge fan of like boxing. I don't have a clue what it takes to become a professional boxer. Like, I like to watch them train, watch them compete. But like, I can't start voicing my opinion out to the public on what I think this person needs to do because he lost his last fight. Like, who am I I don't know what it takes. I'm more like lenient towards the public having their opinion because they're not to know. Whereas like, when it's like ex-players that know the game, and like, then I get confused about it. Like,
why do you think that is though, ex-players?
I don't know.
Why do you think they are?
Like, I don't know. All I know is like...
He's talking about Alan Shearer here.
That's why they get the
No, for me, all I know is like, when I come to retire, I ain't going to be doing that. Like, it's as simple as that. I don't want to put players down. I want to, if anything, lift players, because ultimately they're going to play better on the pitch. So it's like, at the end of the day, we all love watching like exciting stuff on the pitch.
I think you'd make a really good pundit. No, I'm not joking. I mean, you talk very intelligently about the game, about the positions, about the different roles that you have to play as a forward. Yeah. You can go into it. I don't think I've upset too many players.
You're a host.
That's why.
That's the question.
Maybe you'll be a host.
No, we'll see.
What about the managers that you've played for? I mean, it's also not that easy when they're turned over as regular as they've been at Manchester United in the past, because it's hard, isn't it? You suddenly change and then it's a different one. And then who've been the most influential on you?
Influential, I'd probably say Van Gaal, Jose, and
very different.
Ollie. Yeah, they're different, but because of what you just mentioned, we've had so many different managers. It's so hard to it's impossible for me to compare the managers. But when you're a developing player, like at a young age, you learn stuff that no one's ever taught you that before. So like, up until Jose, I'd never had a manager that was so fixated on winning. Before Jose.
Van Gaal wasn't fixated.
He was fixated on winning, but he wanted to play a beautiful style of football. Jose don't care. Do you know what I mean? As long as you win. Of course, if he could choose, he'd want you to play well. But if you win, you win. You move on to the next game. And he had this attitude. And in the beginning, it was confusing for me because all the way through my development at United, it was about playing a certain style of, like, winning a certain way. So in the beginning, I was angry all the time. Like, we've not played well today. We've won, but because we've won and he's a manager that is just a winner, he doesn't bring up the points that you know was missing from that last game because we've won. But when we lose, he brings up the points then. But after like 6 months, I just learned to like respect it, and then I started to reap the rewards from him as a coach.
I'm in awe of the way he's talking about different systems, because obviously I like the tactical side of the game as well. but just like how he's created different things in his head for different managers and when, and he's talking about the movement. Because obviously at Barcelona, you're going to play a high line. So if you win the ball back within 3 seconds, you're pretty much on goal. Sometimes at United, and we don't need to speak about United, but just in terms of their style of play, at times they would be so deep. When you got the ball, you have to take on 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, but show me a successful team that just adapts. When Fergie was in charge, not only the principles for the first team, the whole academy set up so you could pick players from 15 years and over, that's a full generation, and they'd all understand the principles of playing the Man United way. So you see it with any team that's been successful over a period of time, they have principles that any coach that comes in, any player that comes in has to align to these principles or be able to add to these principles. Whereas like at times I feel like United have just been, we're hungry to win, so we'll always try to, to adapt and to sign players that fit this system. But like, it's reactionary. If your direction's always changing, you can't expect to be able to win the league. Yeah, you might win some cup tournaments, but it's because you do have a good coach and you do have good players and you have match winners in your team. You're not there by accident. Like, this is what some people forget. So yeah, we've been way below where we deem United to be. But then if you take like a step back, which I've been able to do, especially over like the last 6 months, what do you expect? People say we've been in a transition for years. To be in a transition, you have to start the transition. So it's like the actual transition's not started yet. So like when Liverpool went through this, they got Klopp, they stuck with him. They didn't win in the beginning.
True.
Do you know what I mean? People only remember his final few years when he was, competing with City and winning the biggest trophies. Didn't win in the beginning.
Really tough time.
So it's like, to start a transition, you have to make a plan and stick to it. So this is the thing that I think...
It's not easy to do though, is it?
It's not easy to do.
If it's not going well, the fans
100%. But this is where I speak about like being realistic with like what your situation is. I feel like we've had that many different managers and different ideas and different like strategies in order to win. You end up in the middle of like you end up in no man's land. So
does it hurt you?
Yeah, 100%. But not only as like a player, just as like I'm a United fan.
Looking ahead now, you're here for a loan, obviously the loan spell, but would you? I mean, I presume you'd like to be successful here, win trophies, stay
100%.
here for a few years.
Yeah, for sure. What I deem as success is growth. So if you think about it, they're a team that's like, a few years before they found themselves in a tricky spot, but they stuck to what their
roots.
Do you know what I mean? Their principles are. Yeah, it might be a slightly different brand of Barcelona in terms of like there's so many young players in the same setup, but this is what it is, and they've found a way for that to be one of the driving forces of a really successful team. So if I can bring like my own attributes and skill sets into a winning setup, I honestly think it's going to be a really positive year. So
I have to say it's lovely to have an Englishman playing at Barcelona.
No, it's not. It's been a lot.
Since you.
What
year was it?
1923. It was 86 to 89. Just 36 years ago.
Why do you think it's been like so long though?
I don't know. There was one guy that played one game a few years ago. His name is also Marcus. You're not even the first Marcus to play for Barcelona. And he played just a few minutes of the Super Cup game when everyone was out injured and stuff. But I don't know why it is, because Real Madrid have had 7 Englishmen. Can you name them?
Owen.
David Beckham.
Owen, 2.
McManaman.
3.
Woodgate.
4.
Jude.
Beckham.
5.
Owen Beckham.
Yeah. Trent. 6. One more. The first one, I'll give you a clue, it's way back. What a footballer he was.
How long we're talking?
We're talking, I think 70s, late 70s, 80s, early 80s.
I've got no chance.
Oh, was it?
He was one of 3 players at West Brom.
Yes! Oh! Yes! Don't tell me.
Cunningham. Marcus's brother has chipped him from the back with Laurie Cunningham.
He was there!
I know what it's like. I've been waiting a long time for another English player to play.
No, it's nice.
And I really hope you're incredibly successful. First game is Mallorca away.
Yeah, Mallorca.
Well, let's get to that. Interesting. Can we get tickets now? Or are we like mates now? You know,
Man, I had to bring in the ticket. I had to ask for the free ticket, bro. Big Meeks, free ticket. Can we get some free ticket, bro?
He's your man over there.
We can swap numbers and I want besties.
Yeah, well, can I give you one word of advice before you play away at Mallorca? Don't do what I did with Mark Hughes. We played Mallorca away in the second game. We'd won the first game 2-0, scored both. And we went to play Mallorca away. It was 0-0, and Terry Venables was the manager of Barcelona then. And he said, you go out for a couple of drinks, be sensible. We weren't really sensible. And the bus was leaving for the airport. I think it was about 7 a.m. the next morning, and we could have stumbled onto the bus from the night out. And Terry Venables was just sat on the front row, and he just went, "For fuck's sake! Buy 2 players and you do that to me." So don't do that. We went to Magaluf. I mean, you do, don't you?
But he wasn't a good pro.
What?
You wasn't a good pro back then.
I was a good pro, except for that night. But generally, I was a good pro. But Mark Hughes is a very bad example. He led me astray. So I wish you all the very best.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good.
It will be. And thank you so much for your time. You're incredibly generous. It's great to be here to see you.
Nice to
see you in
you.
such good spirits. Looking forward to watching you play in Blaugrana.
Yeah.
15 goals I won.
Yeah.
15?
25? No, 15 goals. 15 goals and 10 assists. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a good watch. You know, refreshing to see Marcus just the way he talks and the way he sees things moving forward. And he's going to be playing football with Barca. You know, those players, Pedri, Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Kode. You know, it's refreshing to hear. And what kills me the most is the fact that he loves passing the ball forward, but we've watched United play so many backwards football, and every single time we shouting at the players, stop passing backwards, get in the box so somebody can pick you up. And even last week or Saturday against Fiorentina, the players were scared to get in the box. We played with no striker. In fact, he left Ireland on the bench and he played Mount up top, right? And Mount was never in the box. Bruno Fernandes was never in the box, right? In fact, he was more in our own 6-yard box than he was in the opposition box. But it's just refreshing to hear what Marcus Rashford said that. And we wish him all the best. But move on to another quick interview there where somebody did agree with what he said there, that it was fair analysis. This guy is actually a journalist that was actually at the game on Saturday last week. And he's going to be there against Arsenal again. He's going to watch this game against Arsenal. Let's hear what he's got to say, due to Rashford's interview today.
Well, let's do a bit of Manchester United in the.
You sort of talk about Ratcliffe. I think he is starting to do
Sticky back. Sorry.
this. It's because I do believe it's true, obviously. Some Arsenal game on Sunday.
And the players they brought in and pre-season.
Well, let's do a bit of Manchester United in the company of the Guardian's Manchester football correspondent, Jamie Jackson. Hey, Jamie.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Jamie.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, nice to see you. Now, I'd like to start because I'd like to say that having watched United and the players they brought in and pre-season, for the first time for a number of years, I've got quite a reasonable feeling about them, Jamie. I feel sort of, not that I should do because I don't want them to do well, but if I did, I'd be very optimistic.
Well, I respect that because I know you're sort of a very pragmatic assessor of football. I've got to say, for me, the jury's out. For example, I took my son, who is a United fan, to the last friendly on a Saturday against Fiorentina. And yeah, they looked okay. And, and I'm being polite. I was pretty unimpressed.
Oh, really?
But it's only a friendly. And, I just sort of deja vu all over again, I think, with Manchester United. So I'll be at the Arsenal game on Sunday, the 4:30 kickoff. And yeah, you're always optimistic, but I just think the midfield is sort of a non-event again. It's just, and he's had pre-season now, basically. So I am surprised. Obviously, they're after a midfielder. Maybe it'll all click. I always say this, and it's because I do believe it's true, obviously. Someone has to get it right there. It's too big a club. I think Ratcliffe means business. I think you sort of talk about Ratcliffe. I think he is starting to do what he set out, what he said he was going to do. Whether you like the way he's gone about it is a different matter, but he is doing that. And this sort of what you're sort of talking about there, Andy, with regard to the players he brought in, having the money to do that is a product, or is a function of what Ratcliffe's changes. But I'm still yet to be convinced, because that club is an absolute vortex for players and coaches' careers.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned, we'll get on to Rashford's comments in a second, but you mentioned the midfield, because if Mbeumo and Cunha play either side of Šeško, and then Fernandes then drops into midfield, the guy next to him, and I'm not the first person to say this, is going to have to do a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true.
And that guy, Ugarte, I think is kind of not a bad option there. I mean, they're looking at Baleba at Brighton. Is obviously, it was very telling in pre-season in America when Amarin says we need legs in midfield. Bit of a sort of, telegram, or to the board, if you like. Please get me someone. But I just, he's been in since early October. How can you get to basically, whatever it was at the time, let's say 5 weeks out from the start of the season, still be needing legs in midfield? And I go back to those two players, Mbeumo and Cunha, and in my book, you sign one of them, right, and then your priority is a midfielder plus a centre forward. He's got Šeško, and then you go back for the other 10 because Fernandes obviously plays there. But anyway, in terms of looking forward, I think it's the old thing. I mean, any manager's under pressure if they lose 3 or 4 games. But I'm really fascinated, as I always am, to see how United go. And what are we now? 13th of August. We've got best part of 3 weeks, or sort of 2.5 weeks left of this window. I think if we get to the 1st of September and he hasn't brought in a sort of legs in midfield, let me put it that way, and I think that's that is not great, and that is bad. I'm going to say I think that's bad strategic transfer strategy from the club, really.
I think it's interesting, though, the protest has been called off. Fans, they'll say they've got their reason, but fans are fickle, aren't they? They've spent 200 million on players. I think, perhaps we won't protest so much, but maybe that's not the reason.
Yeah, can I ask about Rashford's comments then? So he said, show me a successful team that just adapts. You see it with any team that's been successful over a period of time. There are principles that any coach comes in, any player that comes in has to align to these principles or be able to add to these principles. Whereas at times I feel like United have just been hungry to win. We'll always try and adapt to sign players that fit this system, but it's reactionary. If your direction's always changing, you can't expect to be able to win the league. You might win some cup, but it's because you do have a good coach and you do have good players and you have a match winners in your team. You're not there by accident. This is what some people forget. And he sort of says they're in no man's land. What do you think?
Well, I think what he's characterising there, Max, is kind of United post-Ferguson since, May 2013. So we're now 12 years on. It's that old thing, deja vu all over again. I think he's right. I think it's quite balanced, fair, not even criticism, just assessment, analysis of the state of that club. Now, you mentioned Ferguson in those quotes and sort of said that, during his time, a whole generation of players were available from the sort of the stars of the first team down to the academy, and they could slot into Ferguson's team because everyone knew the system. But the point there is Ferguson was the point of continuity. Like Guardiola is at City, yes, he's now been there 9-10 years, and they play a certain way. So he is correct. It's not rocket science. You change your coaches all the time. Yeah, your system of play is going to change unless you have an overarching director of football. And they didn't have that for a bit when Ashworth got sacked, but now Wilcox is in. So maybe the idea is going to be reinstated, that they're going to have this overriding way of playing. Exactly. And maybe use that great word in sport, Amarin is going to be the sort of new Ferguson with regard, don't get me wrong, not quite the genius Ferguson was, but with regard to being there for a bit and able to sort of apply this continuity of play. So I think what Rashford said is perfectly reasonable and, quite well, from a player, remember, who has been or was there He's still an employee, but he's been there since he's a kid, right? So he's seen all this. If anyone can sort of really give an inside assessment of someone who's sort of been through it all, it is Marcus Rashford. So, I don't know what fans think of his comments. I think they're probably very fair enough, and I think this is what's going on at the club as well. I think people like Ratcliffe, Wilcox, Amarin would all recognise that. People in football aren't stupid. They understand. But what's needed? What's difficult? It's such a monster, and that was the word that David Moyes used about Manchester United. Such a monster that is Manchester United. It's very difficult to tame it if it becomes untamed. Ferguson tamed it. It was his monster, if I can use that rather tired cliche. But now it's sort of a bit out of control. It has been for a while. It's very difficult to get it back under control for all the reasons we know. That the need to win, the media pressure. The massive wages, the lopsided transfer acquisitions, etc., etc. So it's going to take a bit of time. And so we go back to the start of this season. Arsenal 4:30. Can Amarin, Ratcliffe, Jason Wilcox get it right?
That is such a big game, isn't it? There's so much on the game.
So
they have to make a good start, United. There's no question. Otherwise, Amarin will be under ridiculous pressure. Well, we'll see. Garnacho. It's another one that we'll see what happens.
Anyway, so the Rashford interview this morning, it's a fair analysis of what we all see Manchester United are going through, and it didn't say anything, no slander or anything like that. It didn't come for anyone. He just spoke as a fan and as someone that's played the game and that played for his own club. So we are in no man's land because we keep changing managers over and over, and we're giving jobs to managers or coaches that are incompetent to do the role itself. So now we're gonna get stuck with Ruben Amorim. I hope he succeeds. I'll still support United, but I'm not a big fan of Ruben, really. But fair play to Marcus, fair play to the people behind him. They managed to get him this move to Barcelona, and the way he's handled himself so far. He's been out in Barcelona twice, and we've not seen pictures. We don't even know what he's doing. We don't see the girl he was with. We don't see the boys he was with. We don't see the car he's driving. How crazy is that? It must be refreshing for the guy, man. Rashford cannot even come to town for food without him getting snapped or get a ticket like a normal human being, drive a parking ticket. People still call him out for it. It just don't make sense in this country. A lot of things needs to change. The culture, that's not culture really. That's not culture. That's not British culture. That's just human beings, nasty people living about. But he gave a clear, like I said, he didn't say anything new that we already know about. I think he's skipping that probably for when he finally leaves United. You probably read it in his book, or you'll have a short movie coming out about Rashford. That's where you will see the explosive stuff. But you can just about read, put two and two together here, and see what he's trying to say here. You got in a team, you have match winners, you have a good coach, you have this, and when your match winners stop playing, everybody else becomes, follows. Match winners like Rashford stop playing at United, Bruno Fernandes had a blip, Ahmad had a blip, everybody else was useless. Nacho had a blip, everybody else was useless. So the rest of them, we had 4 players carrying this team at the time, right? But he keeps sacking the coaches and stuff like that. And players at United hate passing backwards, but we always see them pass backwards. But, the stuff he said here, you can pick what you want to pick there and put 2 and 2 together and see where it was going. But it's never gonna say anything nasty whilst he's still signed at United, because that's who it is. Now, I don't think you say anything nasty either after he leaves football, but he will address certain things, certain people, like he said, the criticism from other ex-professionals, like the clip I played for you before about Dean Saunders and Ibuara talking so much rubbish about him, and Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville and Roy Keane and these other people. They don't talk about football. These people talk about agendas. They don't criticize this football. If you listen to what they say, and this is where I found myself in the past. I used to be one of those people that used to go after Marcus Rashford and say so much shit about him. Because I used to listen to people like Gary Neville, people like Roy King, people like Dean Saunders, them guys at Talksport, all those people. But then when you actually listen to the player, what the player say, it makes a lot of sense. If you move away from those people, watch for yourself, see what I watch football myself. I watch what the coach is doing, what the players are doing. You cannot just criticize one player and leave the rest of the team, right? I don't care how much Marcus Rashford is earning. I'm not here to pocket watch him. That's some bitchness. You're a bitch if you pocket watching him. Honestly, or any player, you're a little bitch if that's what you take out of football. Pocket watching on what he's on or what he's earning. He gets paid what he negotiated. He don't get paid what he deserves. He negotiated his wage, his salary. His agent does his brother. That's what he deserves. And that's what he got paid. And if you hear angry about it, right, that's on you. Don't come for the guy. Leave him alone. And we'll see what happens this season. Last week we're at Old Trafford. Sunday, I'm not gonna be at the football on Sunday because I'll be traveling back, going away with my family. Big break. But we'll be watching the game anyway on the way back. But what Marcus has said here, he said nothing new. Everything he said is something that we know about. But it's refreshing to hear him say the things that he said. I'll back him. I'll back him anywhere. The last 6 months, all I've done is back him. I don't need anything. I don't need anyone to tell me any different. But I listen to certain people, the way they describe him, the way they describe his clothes, his cars, his jewelry, his diamonds, or whatever he wears. That is, those people, you need to check yourself, look at yourself. Because you cannot even use, I've got black mate when you're doing stuff like that. That's a cop out. That needs to stop. Oh, well, my friend is black. I can't be a racist. But, oh no, I listen to rap music. I can't be a racist. Oh no. But he thinks he's a rapper. Why do you think rappers are bad people? They're not bad people. Depending on what you listen to. And you don't just listen to rap for the beat. You listen to what rap says. It changes people's lives. But a lot of United fans go after Rashford and Sancho and them other guys that wear chains and blah blah blah, thinking it's an insult to them. It's not an insult. That's what they like. That's what they want to wear. That's what they can afford. But you need to check yourself. Check your tendencies. Check your racist tendencies around you. Check your mate. And I cannot fuck with people like that anymore. So just leave the guy alone. He's now a Barca enjoying his football. And people were still watching him today. The haters came to watch. At 10 a.m., you could see them. They're flowing, they're rushing to come and watch him. How crazy can you be? How can you hate someone but still watch him? How do you hate someone but still watch him? Make that make sense, bro. I wouldn't waste my time watching a player I don't like. I wouldn't. Or anyone in particular, in real life or anything. I wouldn't even talk about you. I've got people that I've fallen out with. I don't even talk about them. My missus will ask me, have you spoken? It's like, no, I don't need to speak to them. I've got nothing to say. Why? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they are. I don't care. So this morning we're watching these interviews and they were flooding in the comment section, like literally. Even the comment I left under the video, like I think it's about 1,000 likes on it now. Under the interview, it's about 1,000 likes, about 80, 90, 100 comment. People just coming for me, coming for Rashford. Like, I don't respond to people like that. I don't respond to trolls. I don't have time for you. And because how can you be watching people that you don't like? It's mad. It's mad. It's mad. It's a complete madness. But anyway, this has been a good stream. Relatively good stream. I've watched the interview. If you want to start again and watch this from the beginning, you can see I shared the clip from Dean Saunders. The voice note. And Jimmy Ara, and also Gabby Agbonloho. where he defended Rashford and another journalist who defended him. Now all of a sudden everyone is defending Rashford, but he still got the cretins, the cunts, idiots, the haters that still come for him, that still watch him, even though they don't like him. How sad you have to be a troll. You can't even show your face. I don't care, man. I'm just saying anyway. I'll back him front row. I hope you succeed at Barca. I hope your family. And shout out to Marcus's mom. Marcus's mom she's the winner in all of this. She never ran out to come and defend him. Right? She's raised a very good son. Both in football and outside of football. Marcus Rashford's mom deserves every accolade. The way she raised this guy. And that picture you see up there at the top there, I'll share that picture over and over because that's who he is. He's a positive guy. There's nothing to it. He did what he had to do for people that needed his help. And he's still doing it today. You've got certain pundits to keep coming for him. As you can see the pictures there, I've got them up there. He spoke about Jose, he spoke about Vanguard, Ole, and he's put the best position he wants to play moving forward. I hope he succeeds at Barcelona. I hope Barca sign him as well, or even if Barca doesn't sign him, I hope he wins trophies for him with them before he comes back to Manchester United. Because Barca are going through some struggle, financial struggle. So if they don't sign him, we all know why. It's not because he's not performed. Because preseason watching him, he's been killing it preseason. Apart from the one miss, but he did assist on that game as well. Rafinha, double R's, the double R's are performing now. Barca, they're assisting each other. And he's got a really good team around him. Good players. No slacking. Nobody's slacking. And talent. Just like he's got talent. Like I said, he's not a world-class player. He's a superstar. And superstars are different to world-class players. He walks into a room, you can feel the aura. That's Marcus. That's a star. Whether I like it or not, he was destined to play for Barcelona. And he did. He's achieved that. Whether you don't like the way he went about it, you think he didn't have a good season, he don't deserve it. Well, you don't deserve a lot of things, but you still got them. Can we just say a few? But like I said, he's someone that will defend through and through. Purely because he's put in the work since a kid. And I tell you, I only get to understand football more and more because when I wake up in the morning, I take my son to football, even when he doesn't want to go to football, right? We ended up going and he enjoys it when we get there. Sometimes he's tired, he doesn't want to go, but you coax him, you talk to him, and you get him to go. And when he gets there, you see his face and he plays football, he enjoys it. And that's how I started to understand football, that footballers actually did a lot to make it into the Premier League. And when you think about the Premier League, it's only about 0.3% that makes it all footballers in the Premier League to have the debut. It's 0.0. It's something around less than a percent that plays in the Premier League or still alive today that have made a debut in the Premier League. And that made me understand football more from this perspective that when you have someone that plays football, when you have someone that enjoys playing football, and especially as young as my son, like who's only 4, sometimes he doesn't want to go to football, he doesn't want to play football. But you get him to go and he plays football in the morning, whether it's rain or shine or snow, you get him to go play football. And when he gets there, the joy, the happiness you see in their faces, they forgot about them not wanting to go at the beginning. And that's why I look at Marcus's mom. Like, she used to catch the bus with him across from Withenshaw to the cliff If you know where the cliff is, it's very far. Especially if you don't have a car, if you're catching a bus. The cliff is far. From Wythenshawe to the cliff, that's Lower Broughton. Is it Lower Broughton, Salford, Deep? Is that Higher Broughton or Lower Broughton, the cliff? I think it's Lower Broughton, right? I have so much respect for Marcus Rashford's mom. I'm not even joking. Mad respect for that woman. And his brothers, supported him throughout. And now, to me, that's how I understand that footballers are not just human beings. They've done something that a lot of us couldn't do, growing up, the discipline and everything else to succeed in their field. And I took Aris to his first football match Saturday. He looked at the flags because at Old Trafford you have the flags of every player that that currently plays for United. Apart from Scott McTominay, the Scottish flag is still there. For some reason, they've not taken it down. So we've got no Scottish player left. But I know we've got Fletcher's kids, but they were born in England, so they're probably English. And one of them, I think, plays for Scotland. But Scott McTominay's flag is still there, it's still flying at Old Trafford. It's still fine, still high up there. So Harris looked at the flags and said, "Dad, I want to see my flag up there." I was like, "What?" I was like, "But your flag is already there. Unless if you're talking about my flag, you know, my flag, where I come from, that makes sense. But your flag is already there because you're born here. Your flag is red and white. So you've got the red and white flag, the England flag up there." I said, "But all you need to do now is work hard to wear the red shirt." I'll tell you what, I've got the videos and everything. When we left the stadium, that kid was outside Old Trafford, the car park, running, doing his runs. He was running. He's like, "Dad, I'm working out, I'm working out." He said, "I want to be a footballer when I grow up." And he said, "Inshallah." I was like, "Whoa." And this stranger was walking past us and he stopped. It's like, "Inshallah?" It's like, wow. It's like, the guy blessed him. It's like, right. So you will be a footballer when you grow up. You will be a footballer. But that's what kids are. And even though he didn't watch the full game, he only watched about 20 minutes, half an hour of the game because he's only 4, and he ended up watching stuff on my phone until I finished the game. Because in fact, he wanted to leave. He wanted to come home. I was like, "No, we're not leaving. Go get used to it." And he still wants to go again to watch the next game, but we're going away. But the fact that he wants to beat that, and I'm gonna support him through and through, but then it's not gonna be, protected by me all the time because this criticism will carry on. Even when he plays football, if he ended up being successful at it, people are gonna criticize him. But it's up to me to tell him, turn it off. Don't listen to them. These people, that's how they are. But fair play to Marcus Rashford's mom. Mad respect. His brothers. Mad respect. She did the job. They did the job, and he becomes successful, and he's looking after all of them. So stop fucking watching the guy. Support him if he comes back. If Barca don't want to sign him or they can't afford to sign him, because obviously, he even took a pay cut just to give United a leeway, and people don't even see that. He took a pay cut to leave, so he can come back, or he can, or he can give United the leeway to sign more players. But people still criticize that. People don't believe that he could do that. Dean Saunders said, "Oh, I don't believe it." He will do that for his boyhood club. I didn't expect him to take a pay cut because I didn't want him to take a pay cut. But he did it. But this fan base is so poor and so bad that we don't see anything good, whatever a player does. We're just awful. We're just awful, this fan base. We're awful people. What more can he do? What more can he do? Club like United, his boyhood club. But anyway, I'll leave this here. I'm not feeling too well. I miss baseball or not. I'll catch up with you guys. Probably do a stream tomorrow night when we get wherever we're going with the kids. You know, and we get ready for Friday, the first game, which I'll be streaming, by the way. Friday, we're streaming that live. I think it's Liverpool playing Bournemouth. I'm not even sure who's playing, but I need to check that and set it up for that stream. But it's been a good one. Over 200 people has watched this. Shout out to everyone that liked the stream as well. Thank you. If you give us a sub, if you give us a thumbs up, if you think give us whatever, share the stream. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you guys a good night. Peace out.